task force, and the Commissioner's Court understands this, but in the your sales, you have a beverage area, and we like them to know that we're not putting vending machines in the tanks, but that's for water and Kool-Aid for their meals. Could you elaborate on that a little bit for them?
That's correct.
Because the way it came up is the beverage area, we thought we were putting in lounges.
In the day rooms, because the food is brought to the inmates, you need to have at least a sink for water or cleaning up some kind of spill, as well as for some minimal beverages according to their diet and what's provided. It's not a coffee bar, and it's not a barista is not going to be stationed there either. So. Thank you.
Okay, look.
Thank you, Judge. I'm glad to clarify we don't have a Starbucks in the jail at this point. Just a series of small points here. One is on the parking. I think it is important. I think it's also an opportunity for the county to look at a partnership with the city in that regard. I don't know whether it's this bond election or something else down the road, but look at that. I think the city might be interested in participating in additional parking. I think, too, I don't want to lose sight of the integrated criminal justice system that we spent a lot of time and effort talking about plopping down a jail that's twice the size of the current facility or larger, and what impact that has on our courts and other supporting services. The last issue I had was I want to clarify the numbers. Since we don't have a construction manager at risk on board at this point, there are those I think that may criticize the process, and I just want to go back to this point in terms of how we can justify the projected construction costs. And if you guys, while the question was if you had more time, it might be of assistance. I'd like for you to clarify the confidence that you have in your numbers, and that we can relate that to our voters as they go to the ballot box in November.
I think maybe the best way to answer that is a recent project that we did a similar thing on was at Lubbock County. As many of you probably know, they have recently built a new jail facility. We did the same exact preliminary design phase conceptual development for Lubbock County in their preparation for their bond issue, and did the same conceptual estimating analysis that we did there, and came out very, very close to what the project ended up costing. So I think we feel very comfortable that this facility can be built for the dollars we're showing.
Thank you.
Okay, Laura, if I can just respond to your question or to the issue on the integrated criminal justice system. I'll say first, as a general statement, we are working on that to achieve some of the goals that CGL set out in the recommendation. Our proposed 2008 budget incorporates additional staffing to the Sheriff's Department, the District Attorney's Office, Indigent Defense Council, both clerks' offices, and incorporates a program to, well, not only the existing AIC program that is working and reducing our inmate transfer cost. We've upped that budget as well. But we have also proposed a program to expedite the processing of jail cases by using visiting judges, which would have a dedicated assistant district attorney who would look at cases as they are brought into the jail, have defense counsel who would be on contract, just like those counsel who are on contract with the felony courts now. So we're looking at some of those, implementing a lot of those alternatives that were suggested by CGL. Obviously, this doesn't address the staffing needs in this year anyway for the new jail, but we're moving that direction.
Judge, in that regard, I think it's important as we go into the community and talk about what the court's doing and its leadership, that I think it was money well spent in terms of addressing, identifying needs. I think there is a cost-effective efficiency issue that the court's driving through the integrated criminal justice system, and if we could quantify those numbers, I think it would help the voters understand that this is in the overall interest of the community.
Certainly. Additional questions?
I have one question. Could we go back to the cost estimate slide? It's the 2007 construction cost of $80,510,000, is that if you were like to build today, is that what that?
That's
that
correct.
is? Okay.
That's correct. And we
To
know we
start.
can't build today.
Right, but to start this year, would that, and then you're just anticipating that the additional 2008 construction costs would go up, but you said you wouldn't be finished until 2010.
That's correct. You know, we forecast costs to when the project will be bid, and so it'll be bid in 2008. So we're adding that additional escalation to increase the cost to that point.
Okay, and so basically then you're saying the total, total cost, including the soft cost, would be around 99 million?
Yes.
Okay, that's the, okay.
On this annual inflation of 8%, I would take that as 8% every year.
That's correct.
So if we were to delay further, it would be another 8%.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Dobbs, I'm sorry, I didn't see you come in.
Hi, Judge. I have a question, and if I missed this question previously, I apologize. What has your experience been with your design contingency of 10% on whether that tends to be a conservative number or it tends to be a real number?
Typically, you know, as you begin to fine-tune cost estimates and the design, and you begin working with a construction manager, you know, the costs tend, as more detail is added into the project, those costs get eaten up with that design contingency. It's typically used.
Those like change orders and things like that?
No, this is more until we get to the point at where we have completed documents and a GMP from the contractor. So it's before construction.
Additional questions?
Judge, I'd just like to ask that whatever we can do to get some annual operating cost figures pulled together. You mentioned that you had some models that you could run utilities on. I think we need to do exactly what we did last time and try to estimate what our annual operating costs will be. I think that's important. It'll be important for the task force, and it will certainly be important for the citizens to understand.
As far as utilities and so on, I would assume you'll make every effort to make the most energy efficient utilities and machinery and everything else that we possibly have, and make that as green as possible also.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
A central plant facility is a great start. You know, it's more energy efficient, and you know, when we can, we use high efficiency motors and fans and things of that nature as well to reduce energy use.
Any additional comments or questions at this point? Okay, well, this agenda item allows us to take any necessary action regarding the jail design and/or cost estimates. I know that we've talked about having our bond counsel, well, we talked about getting her some information as early as August 27th, so she would have time to do what she needs to do. Mr. Gary, can you elaborate a little bit on that timeline? I know you probably don't have that sitting in front of you, but.
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, she wanted that by August 21st.
By?
August 21st.
Okay. So, any additional action need to be taken today so that we can get the language on the ballot as needed? Or we want to take some time to digest the information and approach this, I guess, sometime next week? Well, it would have to be by Tuesday of next week.
Judge, I'd like to suggest that the task force and the resource